So, without further ado, I am going to ask you, please join me in welcoming the chair of Holland High Tech, and he's seated over here, Peter Stolk. Please, Peter, step forward. Please step at my nice little table here.
With pleasure.
Thank you so much. Peter, I think we met in December, and now you have been with Holland High Tech for exactly 6 months today.
Yep.
Which means about 182 days.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me, what happened in those first 182 days in your life?
What happened? A lot, I would say.
Yeah.
A lot is happening in high-tech systems and materials.
Yep.
Appropriate with the weather today. High-tech is hot, right? Would be the short summary. It has been exciting, meaningful. I had the privilege to meet a lot of people in the past half year, among whom are a lot in this, many of them are in this room. And maybe at the start, there's 2 things to mention. I think you all succeeded to put Holland High Tech on the map. Mm-hmm. We have a clear role to play. We have a clear role to play in the high-tech landscape in the Netherlands. And at the same time, the world, the map is changing around us. And I can make a long list, but I think it's obvious that in the Netherlands, some of the transitions are not happening at the pace that they need to happen. Mm-hmm. We will have a new government, which is a change. A lot is changing. Look at the NATO summit of last week in terms of geopolitics, which also demands changes from us. Yeah. So for me, the theme and the discussion of today is where do we stand as Holland High Tech? Where are we going? Yeah. How do we react to the changes, and how can we continue to make a difference as an organization? Yeah.
And in that respect, what would you say draws your immediate attention?
Well, I mentioned we will have a new government, and what I would really love, and hopefully we can contribute, is for the government, the new cabinet, to wholeheartedly embrace the knowledge industry. Mm-hmm. And 2 weeks ago or last week, the IMD, International Institute for Management Development, published their annual competitiveness report, global competitiveness. And in the last 4 years, we were top 5. We lost that position as the Netherlands. 2 points they highlight is 1, we need to work on the stagnation in our infrastructure development and our building of houses, that's 1. And secondly, deregulate some of the legislative obstacles that we have in order to make things smoother. Well, on both fronts, I must say not a lot has happened in the past month or year, even years. So I'm not too optimistic about this current position that we have in terms of global competitiveness. At the same time, industry is a very strong pillar in the Netherlands. The industry directly contributes 12 percentage points of the GDP, growth domestic product in the Netherlands. Directly, indirectly, some 16%. High-tech industry is the most productive sector in terms of earnings per hour worked. And I would claim, although I didn't do the stats, I believe high-tech industry is probably among the most earning sectors in terms of euros per square kilometer, which is also in a small country like ours, very important. So I think 3-4 items are very important. Invest in innovation, go to the 3% R&D level in terms of GDP. Infrastructure, build the infrastructure, strengthen the infrastructure that is needed for companies and startups to flourish. Create the investment culture around that. And last but not least, education. Education is so important for a knowledge economy, we cannot underestimate it. And I think it goes without saying that in terms of science, technology, engineering, we should go full throttle, including the international participation from talents outside the Netherlands and bring them here. So, long story short, I really hope that in the next 4 years and longer, we will truly embrace the knowledge industry in the Netherlands.
Yeah. That's what you're aiming for from your position as chairman, for sure. Yes. Yep. Now tell us, Peter, you have been quite been out and about. You met a lot of people and a lot of organizations, nationally, internationally. What would you consider as your highlights?
Well, a couple of things to mention. Whomever I've met, what strikes me is really the technology savviness that we have in the Netherlands, and also the ambition and entrepreneurship around innovation and technology. So the basis is there for us to flourish. I met and got introduced to the government, especially the Ministry of Economic Affairs, who are introducing a stronger industrial policy and agenda. And I was happy to be able to join the Semicon board, which is a manifestation of one of the changes they envision. Went to a few countries, Hannover Messe in Germany in March, April. Joined one of the trade missions, and some others in the room did as well, to Japan and Tokyo and Osaka. Joined a state visit to the Czech Republic, and I think later on I will touch upon a bit what this has taught me or has taught us in terms of the possibilities with these countries. Last thing to mention, as of today, I've taken over the role of chairmanship for Next Gen High Tech, the National Growth Fund, from Mark Hendriksen. With pleasure to do so. It's a nice, I think, complementary but also strengthening additional task next to supporting Holland High Tech.
Wonderful, super roles, yes, of added value one to the other. Now, also internally, you have not been sitting still, because also in the light of the current events we all are witnessing globally and nationally, what has happened internally?
Well, I think one thing to mention is that Holland High Tech, as I mentioned, is well positioned. We have a position on the map in terms of the way programs are organized and executed, the way we do networking and communication. So I inherit a strong organization, and this is, of course, a basis to continue our activities in the high-tech domain. I think later on, and I will keep it short, one change that we've implemented in April is the launch of a program council, which will help to put more focus in our activities, in programming, the public-private partnerships, and also connecting what we do stronger to the national technology strategy. But I think it's too premature for me now to dwell on this, because there will be a lot more information on this later in the program.
Yeah, well then maybe let's talk about today's theme. You did choose with your organizing committee for this network event. Define tomorrow, commit to key enabling technologies. Maybe that's a wonderful moment to ask one of your invitees here today, Jeroen Heijs, as Deputy Director Innovation and Knowledge from the Ministry of Economic Affairs, to the stage. Maybe you give him a warm welcome. That's always fun to be here. Hi, Jeroen. Welcome. Thank you for being with us here this afternoon, Jeroen. I think it's quite obvious, almost logical, that we start with you when we discuss key enabling technologies and the national technology strategy, which has been introduced in January last year, 2024. Yes. Yep. Then tell us, for this audience, the significance of the national technology strategy for the Netherlands, and what are the latest developments? Give us some insights.
Some insights. Okay. Well, first I want to say that it's wonderful to be here at this event, and it's beautiful to see how many of you are here from the high-tech community. So it's an honor to be here for me. The National Tech Strategy. Well, we published that 1.5 years ago. We worked on it for a longer period. I think we worked on it for a year or year and a half. Very much in cooperation with a lot of people in this room, I think, and especially with TNO, with Holland High Tech. We did a lot of research before that. The value of the National Technology Strategy is that it is an agenda. There is no money in it, there is no budget, but it is a guidance for government policies to pay more focus, to get more focus into the technology and innovation system. And it was a bit of a long shot. A lot of people said, well, let's see what that will do, because there's no money. Where's the money? Yeah. What we see now is that it is a real guidance, not only for the government policies, but it's also a guidance for all the innovation ecosystem, as a matter of fact. A lot of parties are directing their policies, their assets also to the priorities, the 10 priorities in the National Tech Strategy. And that is that's above our expectation, I might say. So we're very glad with that. And at this moment, We are working together with the communities, not only in high-tech, but also in biotech, also in AI and data. We are working on the agendas to make them more concrete, to make them more operational. And we expect that to be ready at, in this autumn, not all 10 at once, but we are
one after the other.
Making very good progress with that. So we think, and that agendas will be executed also by the partners in the ecosystem. It's not only the government policy, but it's truly an agenda for and from
common set agenda.
Yeah.
Now, today we are here at the event of Holland High Tech. What would you consider as the role of Holland High Tech to move this national tech strategy further?
Well, I think that Holland High Tech has played a very important role in the national tech strategy. They were amongst the first who saw the importance of it, and they were among the first to adopt it in their own strategy. Peter was telling that the program committee, the programmaraad, is established now, and it's totally focused on the national tech strategy priorities. Also in the KIA-ST, the Knowledge and Innovation Agenda on Key Enabling Technologies, it's totally focused now, and Leo and his team had done a very good job in that, to, in early stage, really say, well, look, there is an agenda now from government, let's focus our own activities on this agenda. So I'm very grateful to Leo and Peter and their teams to have done that.
Thank you, thank you. Peter, how do you see the Holland High Tech role towards the ministry? How do you fulfill that role? How does that work?
Well, I think it's as Jeroen described, the stage is set within the National Technology Strategy and the key enabling technologies. The job to do is to translate that through the ecosystem with the partners into the tangible action agendas. And the action agendas can carry a long weight if they are well thought through, they are strategic, but at the same time tactical. And this is the important step where we can contribute, where we can facilitate, but of course we rely on the entire ecosystem in all of the technical domains to make this happen. So it's sort of, on the one hand, it's a broker role, a bridging role to translate the tech strategy into tangible action agendas. And this is a role we play, not all by ourselves. There are, of course, other top sectors also involved. But it's truly something that we picked up with pleasure and ambition, because we feel the importance for the Netherlands, also looping back to what I said in my introduction.
Well, we were talking, Leo, please step forward. Quantum technologies, one of the 10 domains, innovation domains of Holland High Tech. Now, before we talk about what's next, what's in the coming year on the agenda, let's talk a little bit more about what has been achieved so far, because that's also very interesting. In high-tech and key enabling technologies at Holland High Tech, we spoke last time a year ago, July 2024. The National Technology Strategy was just launched a couple of months before then. And now a year with quite some accomplishments.
Yes.
So maybe, Leo, can I give you the word to give us some facts and figures?
Just a few. Let's not bulldoze too many figures over you, but just a few. So the last year, we have actually received 270 project proposals that we have gone through together with our advisory board. We are actually quite proud on the fact that next to the around 55 million euro of subsidy that we have been able to add to the projects, over 50 million of private contribution to those projects has gone. So what we see is that companies really recognize the value of the projects that they participate in, and they're willing to actually spend their money, their precious money, in actually making that project a success. So this public-private collaboration really works very well. Next to that, what we have invested in, based on this idea of creating focus, is on strategic projects. We now have 13 strategic programs that are running. They have a complete value of around 131 million if we integrate the value of those projects over the 4 years that they are allowed to run. In the last year, in the last half year, we have actually added 3 more programs to this. One of them is very nicely connected to the program that we had last year, last July. That is on circularity. And there are 2 programs on the security market and on the semicon market that we're going to discuss later in the program. So I think also in our programming of this event, we are nicely connected to the major focus that we have. Next to all this, what I can say is that we have we're very happy that we now have the NWO HTSM call back in show. That's a collaborative exercise where some of our money is being spent, but NWO adds their own funding. And we actually program in this way on specific NTS-related high-tech topics. This particular call has been on energy materials and on imaging technologies, and later on in the program we'll give you a highlight on what is coming. Another topic that we are very proud of is a collaboration with Regio Garcia. That is for the KIEM High-Tech. That is for relatively small projects where HBO, so Universities of Applied Science, together with SME, do small projects to find out how to create value for those SMEs in the knowledge that is around in those applied universities. Very nice set of program. And also here, we've actually expanded the funding for this program based on the success last year. And then finally, we're also very happy with the fact that we now have an SME call, very specific to high-tech SMEs, where recently we've actually been able to grant 13 projects, the financing, and would love to see more. So we're already here investing and working towards a next opportunity.
Okay. Well, wow. And that is a reach out, in fact, that last.
Yes, we'll come back on that later in the program, but this is already a precursor. We're going to continue with this program as well, yes.
Wonderful. Leo, thank you so much for this update. And now you were talking, I was also wondering, because in the opening, Peter was also mentioning about the new governance, in a way, of the Holland High-Tech organization in itself, with a program council, with innovation domains. Now, explain in this audience once more, maybe to have it clear on our minds, what the rationale is behind all this.
Yes, thank you. So the program council we actually built because the program council is a very important advisory board for our board of Holland High-Tech. Our board actually needs this advice. It wants a solid advice. And this program council has now been constructed in such a way that it lines nicely up with the NTS, with the National Technology Strategy. So from all these technology fields that we think are important, we now have representatives in the program council. And in order for them to be able to do their job well, what we now have also been able to do is to make sure that they are now building on the knowledge of a larger group of experts, innovation councils, that are actually around each of those program council members.
Wonderful. Yeah, that makes sense.
We are very happy with how that has worked, and we now already see the advantage. The discussions that we have in this program council are significantly more in-depth. And we're really entering now a stage where we are going to have pretty solid discussions about what are now the important topics for Holland High-Tech to fund moving forward. And that's a very important discussion to have.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Peter, when Holland High-Tech started about 15 years ago or so, is it that true?
12.
12?
Yeah.
Oh, 12. It was also mentioned a very strong international focus, and there's quite a lot going on internationally. So what is the latest update over there? What would you say?
Well, what I can do is, I mentioned 3 countries earlier on, and I can quickly cover what we have seen within those 3 countries in terms of innovation. Germany, long-standing partner in trade. We export about 25% of our total export goes to Germany. And also in the innovation space, we're quite complementary and have been working with them a lot. The German heavy-duty industry, as you all know, including automotive, is under pressure. But we see, and I sense that Germany will bounce back and recover. They created a Ministry of Digitalization, big investments into infrastructure, into defense. And I think it's time to extend the innovation pacts that we have with Germany, write new chapters to explore these new areas, again in complementarity with the, let's say, typical lower volume, higher mix technology that we have to offer to the German market. So lots of opportunities there, and we're getting prepared for Hannover Messe 2026 to explore those. That's one. Mm-hmm. Japan, when I worked for Philips 10, 20 years ago, I've been to Japan a couple of times. I always found it a very interesting and strong technology country, but quite self-contained. Now, during the trade mission a month and a half ago, I sensed that Japan is opening up under pressure of the talent crunch. They have a strong aging population, and under pressure of the necessary transitions they need to make also, and that don't really get off the ground. Japan is very much open, more than in the past, to strike collaborations outside the country, and I think there were quite some fruitful opportunities identified during the trade mission. Something to remember, Japan and the Netherlands in the semiconductor equipment space, we occupy 6 of the top 10 positions in that area. So together we are strong and we can explore that in different areas. Yeah. Czech Republic, just to finish up, we visited not so long ago. It may not be in the top 10 or top 5 partners, but they have a strong engineering and manufacturing background and truly have an interest in teaming up with the Netherlands, also in the defense industry and elsewhere. So the moral of the story is that there are a lot of like-minded countries in the world, in, let's say, the geopolitical setting. There's a lot of complementarity with what we have to offer, and together we're strong. And if we team up and explore this, of course, we can strive for autonomy, cover the whole value chain, and secure our sovereignty going forward. Yeah. And it's good also that the government is at the verge of exploring more long-term international plans. And as Holland High Tech, we're ready to team up to sort of substantiate those plans and bring them forward. Yeah.
And now you only mentioned 3 great examples.
Yeah, it's examples.
You could have taken others. So
yeah, there's really many other opportunities that goes on.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much. Leo, I would like to come back to something Jeroen stated earlier, because then we were talking about key enabling technologies and the strategy agenda, or the technology strategy, the national technology strategy. Now, just give us some more words and backgrounds on the steps Holland High Tech can take to get things done.
Yeah, well, the national technology strategy, I liked very much how Jeroen positioned it. It's an agenda.
Sure.
Let's be honest.
There was no money immediately involved.
Which is, of course, also a pretty limiting conclusion. So how do you, one way or another, make sure that people really start to follow through on an agenda if it, one way or another, doesn't mean anything to them? So the way that we now are approaching this, and we're very happy to be the coordinator of the Knowledge Innovation Agenda, but by no means we're doing this as Holland High Tech alone. We have actually a very strong partnership with a number of organizations. We try to make sure, together with as many as possible people here in the room as we can think of, that all those agendas are transitioned now into action agendas, with the word action. What we really want is we want to make sure that it becomes clear what it now is that we want to do in the coming years, all the way to the target of 2035. Behind those actions, of course, also plans, funded plans, not yet funded plans, needs for financing are going to be described. And then you need to have a pretty solid discussion about priorities. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
There's another element that I want to add to this, because that is also government policy. We haven't discussed it yet, but it's so nicely interlinked. The government is also more and more clear, and hopefully we'll see that being followed through pretty soon, on the fact that there are a number of markets that are actually making the difference in creating future economic potential. Growth markets. I'd love to talk about application areas. And then it becomes much easier for me as an engineer to understand. If we focus on technology, what application areas can you enable with that technology that are going to make the difference for us in the future? And this connection between technologies and application areas we are now already making. We are making that in the enabling technologies agenda. We're making it in the NTS. We're making that in Holland high-tech way of working. And that's going to be very important. So it fits very nicely with Arnoud's focus, or Arnoud's plea to not focus on too many different topics. If we want to be expert in technologies, we also need to choose in what application areas we're going to invest in. And that now all comes nicely together.
Yeah. And we must have our story in place. Certainly now we are waiting what will happen in Den Haag. We must continue, not stay behind.
We're very eager to follow through on exactly what you say. We're not going to wait. We're not going to wait for whatever happens in The Hague. We carry on.
You carry on.
We think we have a decent plan. We know what we're going to do next. And we're going to make sure that those plans are going to be convincing.
And you know what you're able to.
Yes.
So that is also important. Now, a final question maybe for the two of you or one of you. Holland High-Tech is frequently asked to join conversations to advise when it comes to public-private cooperation or investments or innovation, public-privately. Now, we all know that defense and security are very current topics. I'm now just wondering if you are, and if so, when and how do you join that conversation? Are you at a table?
Yeah.
Which one? With whom?
Yeah. It's pretty soon you're going to talk with Tamas.
Tamas from the Ministry of...
We're happy to know Tamas now, but it is, for many parties, it's not very easy to engage in discussions with the Ministry of Defense. But again, regardless of that complexity, we totally understand why it is. We are not waiting. So we have already set up one of those strategic programs on the security market that is now alive and kicking. Money is flowing in, the projects are coming out. So we have made a start, but we feel it's by far not enough. There's much more possible. So that's one of the reasons why I am looking forward to a little bit of time with Tamas during the barbecue. And all those other networking opportunities. We feel that in the current climate, with organizations like Holland High-Tech, but also others, defense innovation programming can scale up tremendously. And we feel we can make a positive difference here. We have ideas, we have already shared those ideas, we'd love to follow through.
Thank you so much. Jeroen, may I ask you back? Yes, from the ministry, because we didn't finalize our conversation maybe completely. Maybe if we start with Semicon, on the national level, why does our government, government in the making, we hope, place a significance on a strong semiconductor sector? Because for the Netherlands it is of huge importance, we all know that. But how can we make sure that that will be fully understood and also taken care of?
I don't know yet what the next government will be, so that is a bit difficult. But well, you should not wait for the bureaucrats, but you should also not wait for the politicians, of course. So I think it is a very good idea to make plans and to have your plans ready. So you can, well, maybe a bit influence the new program for the government and state that semicon industries is a very important part of Dutch economy. And I think this helps because I think everything is in place. I think everything I heard today, I agree with it, most of it. And what we now need is action and a little money, maybe a little, much money, to make the next step. Because the last government, well, was not very well investing a lot of money in the ecosystem. I think for the next cabinet, for the next government, we need more investment, and then we can make the plans that we all have, that are all on the table. We can have a big push on those plans. To say something about semicon industries, of course, this is a very, very important industry for the Netherlands, but it's not semicon alone. Semicon is related to a lot of other industries, a lot of other technologies that are equally important and are important to give them a boost to the next phase of semicon industry. Well, we had a presentation on quantum technology, we had some talks about photonics. I think those two are very important for the future development of semicon industries as well. And there are others, of course, like AI and data will be extremely important. Also, mechatronics will be extremely important for the next phase of semicon industry. So it's not only semicon in a narrow sense, it is semicon in a broader sense. So let's give a push to that.
Yep. We need you at our side for this. That is wonderful. But then maybe still some words at the semicon industry, but then in the European perspective. How would you describe the European perspective?
Well, we are teaming up with the countries that are also very important in semicon industries. We have a European initiative on that. Well, actually, it was boosted by our former minister, Dirk Beljaerts, who formed the Coalition of the Willing in Europe, who's trying to get, well, you know, European Commission, European Union is moving, well, sometimes a little bit slow, too slow for us. So we said we don't want to wait for 27 countries to align with that. So we make a coalition of the willing, of the countries who are extremely important in semicon industries, and we try to get the next step and inspire the UN Commission to make the next step. And well, that's one thing. The second thing is that we are working now with some countries, France, Germany, of course, Belgium, on what we call an IPCEI project. We now have an IPCEI program on semicon industries running up, but we are working on the next phase for that, in which a lot of money from the national governments will be allowed to have a bit more subsidies to higher TRL levels. And we hope that also the European Commission will put some money of, well, their own budget in it as well. So we can give a boost to European semicon industries with that.
Okay. Now, if we finally take it a bit broader, like you also stated yourself, semicon, but more to the all key enabling technologies, what are the next steps for the ministry now? What is it we can expect? What do you expect from an audience like this?
Well, we are a bit in a strange period of at this time, of course, because we don't have an active government. We don't have an active government. We have a new minister who is very ambitious, who is very energetic. So, well, that helps. And we are making plans, and we are making plans to be ready for when the next government gets in place. And we also try to give the next government, well, some ideas to put in the government program. Well, we hope that we will publish a letter on the 3% GDP plan, what we have. Well, you were talking about Arnold was talking about, we are lagging behind. We are on 2.3 now. And we have the long-term ambition to reach the 3%. And, well, as we didn't have a lot of money in the past cabinet period, we invented a plan in which, well, central is we need a little bit more of public money, but essential is that we need the leverage on public money for private money. So we're developing plans on that. For instance, having a national investment bank who fills the gap between especially for the scale-ups, who helps the scale-ups to have big money to make the next phase. Yeah. We're thinking about an R&D platform to help companies who want to make the next step to make everything in shape for that. And we're thinking also about a sort of a ARPA organization, which, is a copy of what we have in the United States, the DARPA and the ARPA Health. It is an organization who uses government money. We spend, as a government, about 100 billion euros a year on procurement. And maybe we can use this money, or part of this money, to make this procurement more innovative. Okay. So that, I think, also when we talk about a market pool, that can be of a big help. I'm just trying to publish this plan, maybe in a few weeks.
In a few weeks from now. Keep us posted. Yes.
We will.
Thank you so very much, and it was great having you here this afternoon. It's time to talk action.
Yep.
That we can finalize with. Leo, maybe start with you. Next steps.
Okay. Well, I did already a bit of an announcement, so let's just summarize this. What we are anyway going to do later in the year is we're going to run together with NWO. We're very happy with that. A new NWO HTSM scientific call. And I think I am not overstepping my boundaries if I already do a bit of a suggestion that the topics quantum and semiconductor will be featured in that call. Expect the announcement of that call by NWO, of course, immediately after the summer period. So would love to see a lot of subscriptions in order to make that call a success. Then secondly, we're already together with Regier Garcia doing again this year the KIEM call. The first round has already happened, so I think 39 projects have already been assigned. The final call is, there you have it on the screen, September 30th. So anybody who still wants to participate in this opportunity, make sure you hit that deadline. Yeah. And then thirdly, we have a decision by our board, so we're working out now the details that later in the year we will indeed run again an SME call, like the first one, with a limited budget. Unfortunately, that's the only downside that we have, but it will still be an opportunity. And we're going to now work on the scoping, how we're going to make that more focused than the previous one. And also this is going to go, into a call proposal as soon as possible after the summer period. So you can expect these. And would love, one way or another, for everybody to take part in these calls, to be interested in the opportunities that we have, to take part in all those strategic programs. You can find amazing amounts of information on our website, and if you haven't subscribed to our newsletter yet, then you definitely must do that, and this is how we keep you informed on everything that we follow through on.
Thank you.
There you go.
That's great. Peter, next steps. Where do you want everyone to join?
At certain levels. For myself, I will continue the journey of integrating into this role because it's an ongoing journey. Specifically, I will join and lead the trade mission to Switzerland after the summer. Registration is still open for those interested, making some ad here. Switzerland is the #1 classified company in the IMD competitiveness ranking that I showed earlier, that we discussed earlier. So bear in mind, and they're a bit of a silent but very capable country in terms of high-tech institutes and industries. So important. For the audience, after today, with all what you heard, if you're not yet connected and you really feel you can contribute, especially in the area of the key enabling technologies, reach out and contribute. More generally, stay curious, stay engaged, and stay collaborative, because this is all what we need in order to build this great ecosystem. And for Holland High Tech, I think we will continue what we have started. Continue the programming, as Leo just explained, to drive the public-private collaborations. Continue contributing to shaping the key enabling technologies in certain domains. Yes, continue enabling the networking events as today, do the communication, and for certainly spread the word that innovation and collaboration are key and go hand in hand. So we are here to stay, and we will certainly be back next year with again another party. But first, let's enjoy the aftermath out.
The aftermath, and that will start right now. Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you very much, Lee. Thank you all.